The restaurant lights were warm and soft, but nothing felt warm to Emily as she stood outside the glass doors, staring at her reflection. Her chest tightened the moment she saw her own face in the faint reflection, the faint burned scars that ran from the right side of her jaw down to her collarbone, reminders of a fire she had survived when she was only 17. She touched them gently, feeling the familiar sting of insecurity rather than pain. This was supposed to be her first date in years, arranged by her coworker who swore the guy was nice, normal, and definitely not shallow. But all Emily could feel was dread, a haunting certainty that tonight would be no different than all the other times someone stared too long, whispered behind her back, or changed their tone once their eyes landed on the scars. And yet, for reasons she couldn't explain, she still walked through the doors. She still chose hope, fragile, trembling, but alive. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the beauty that lives beyond appearances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly helps our channel continue sharing stories that matter. Emily's heels clicked quietly as she moved through the dining room, searching for the man she had seen in the photo. Mark, a marketing advisor with a bright smile and carefully styled hair. She spotted him immediately, seated near the window, scrolling through his phone. For one hopeful second, she imagined a pleasant conversation, maybe even laughter. But as she approached, Mark looked up, and everything inside her crumbled. His expression shifted the way people's faces often did. First confusion, then shock, then thinly masked discomfort. He stood up halfway, then sat back down, clearly reconsidering. And when she finally reached the table, he didn't even try to hide it. "You're Emily?" he muttered, his voice flat. She nodded stiffly, bracing herself. Mark's eyes traveled across her face, lingering too long on the scars before flicking away, like the sight physically bothered him. He didn't stand. He didn't smile. He didn't say, "Nice to meet you." Instead, he sighed, leaned back in his chair and muttered, "Wow, they didn't tell me." Emily felt the world tilt. Heat rose behind her eyes, the kind that came before tears. They didn't tell him. She'd been reduced to a warning label. Before she could reply, Mark waved dismissively. "Look, I'm just being honest. I'm not comfortable with all that. I'm not trying to be rude. I just don't think this is going to work." He gestured vaguely at her face, as if it were something she should have apologized for, as if she had created the scars by choice. She felt people at nearby tables glancing over, sensing tension. Her heart pounded, humiliation burning sharper than any flame she had endured years ago. She wanted to run, to bury herself in her room and stay there forever. But she forced herself to breathe, forced her voice to remain calm as she whispered, "I understand." Mark didn't even pretend to be sorry. "Good luck out there," he said, already reaching for his phone, already done with her. Emily turned away quickly, not wanting him, or anyone, to see her crumble. She moved through the restaurant like a ghost, eyes down, steps unsteady. She didn't know where she was going, only that she needed to get outside, someplace where the walls wouldn't feel like they were closing in. She nearly collided with someone coming around the corner, someone tall, warm, and solid enough that she startled. A man with dark blonde hair, soft green eyes, and a little boy holding his hand. The man gently caught her shoulder to steady her before she stumbled. "Whoa, are you okay?" he asked, his voice filled with genuine concern, not curiosity, not judgment. Emily quickly shook her head, embarrassed, and stepped aside. The man didn't force anything, but he didn't simply walk away either. He crouched down so he could meet her gaze instead of towering over her. "My name's Jason," he said gently. "This little guy is Noah. You look upset. Is there anything we can do?" Emily shook her head again, trying to give a small smile, but it wavered. Jason glanced behind her and immediately noticed Mark gathering his jacket, clearly ready to leave. His intuition was sharp. He understood what had happened without a word spoken. Meanwhile, Noah, the boy of about 6, looked up at Emily with wide, curious eyes, but not once did he stare at her scars. Instead, he tugged Jason's sleeve and whispered loudly, "Daddy, she looks sad. Can we help her feel better?" The innocence nearly broke her. Kindness always disarmed her more than cruelty. Emily wiped quickly at her eyes. "Thank you, sweetheart." "I'm okay," she whispered to Noah. Jason offered her a soft smile. "We're actually here for a birthday dessert for Noah. Why don't you join us? Just for a few minutes. You don't have to explain anything." She wanted to refuse, to flee, to hide, but something in Jason's eyes, steady, patient, warm, felt like an anchor, and something in Noah's bright face felt like a light she desperately needed. So she nodded. They took a booth in a quieter part of the restaurant, and from the moment they sat down, something shifted. Emily felt herself breathing easier. Noah chatted excitedly about turning 6 soon, about dinosaurs and school and how he'd lost a tooth last week. Jason watched his son with a gentle pride that softened his whole face. And every once in a while, he glanced at Emily with eyes that didn't flinch or shift away from her scars. He asked her about her work, her hobbies, the things she loved. And he listened, truly listened, as though nothing about her appearance bothered him. Not once did he bring up what had happened moments before. Not once did he ask about her scars. He saw her, just her, and it felt like she had been holding her breath for years until this very moment. When Noah asked if she liked dinosaurs too, she laughed, really laughed, and the sound surprised her. So did the feeling of ease settling inside her chest. But the real turning point came when Noah, mid-dessert, suddenly tilted his head curiously and said, "Miss Emily, did you get hurt? My daddy has a scar too." Jason froze for a moment, startled, but Emily placed a gentle hand on the table and gave Noah a soft smile. "Yes," she said quietly. "A long time ago." Noah nodded with the solemn wisdom only children possess. "It's okay. Scars mean you're brave." Jason exhaled slowly, admiration flickering across his expression. When Noah excused himself to the restroom, Jason turned toward her, resting his elbows lightly on the table. His voice was quiet but strong. "I don't know what happened on your date tonight," he said, "but whoever hurt you, they were wrong. Completely wrong." He paused, choosing his words carefully, respectfully. "Your scars don't make you less. They don't make you unlovable. They show what you survived. And they're beautiful." Emily's breath caught. He didn't say it like a compliment. He said it like a truth. Jason's gaze didn't waver. Not with pity, not with hesitation, but with sincerity that reached straight into her heart. Emily felt something inside her crack open, something she had sealed off long ago. She felt seen in a way she had never expected to be seen again. When Noah returned, Jason suggested they walk her to her car. The night air was cool, the streetlights soft enough to blur the edges of the world. Noah held her hand without hesitation, swinging it playfully as they walked. Jason walked beside her in quiet companionship. At her car, she turned to them, unsure how to thank them for saving her from a night that could have broken her spirit completely. "You two really helped me tonight," she said softly. Jason shrugged, smiling that gentle smile. "Sometimes the right people find you at the right moment." Emily swallowed hard. "I hope you have a wonderful birthday, Noah." The boy grinned. "Come to my party," Jason laughed. "Maybe let's not ambush her like that, buddy." Emily blushed but smiled. "I'd like that." When they parted ways, she sat in her car for a long moment, hands trembling. Not from pain, but from gratitude. She had expected the night to be another dark mark on a long list of disappointments. Instead, it had become something else entirely. A beginning. Over the next few weeks, Jason reached out slowly, carefully to check on her, to share photos of Noah's dinosaur drawings, to ask if she might want to meet for coffee. Emily found herself smiling at her phone more often, laughing at his messages, feeling a warmth in her chest she had thought she was no longer capable of feeling. They met for coffee, then for walks, then for afternoons at the park where Noah would show her his latest treasures, rocks, leaves, imaginary fossils. With every meeting, Emily saw how deeply Jason loved his son, how patient and gentle he was, how he treated everyone around him with respect. He had been a single father since Noah was a baby, raising him with the kind of tenderness that made Emily's heart swell. She told him about the fire eventually, about the accident that had changed her life, the long hospital months, the surgeries, the judgment she faced, the way she had slowly retreated from people. And Jason listened, his eyes filled not with pity, but with admiration for her strength. One evening, while Noah played in the grass nearby, Jason stood beside her, watching the sunset over the small lake at the park. The sky glowed gold and pink, shimmering across the water. Emily's hair moved softly in the breeze, and Jason looked at her with a quiet intensity that made her breath tremble. "You know," he murmured, "I meant what I said that night." Emily looked at him, her heart pounding. "Your scars," he continued softly, "are beautiful. They're part of the story that makes you who you are. And everything about you is worth knowing.